Misfits, before we jump into today's episode, I want to share something very special with you. After hosting over 450 episodes of The Misfit Entrepreneur and sitting down with some of the world's top founders, investors, and high performers, I started to notice something. Different industries, different backgrounds, different paths, but the same patterns kept showing up. So I distilled those patterns into a short, powerful guide called The Misfit Code: 21 Uncomfortable Truths from 450 plus entrepreneurs. This isn't motivational fluff, it's not theory, and it's definitely not the recycled advice that you hear everywhere else. In fact, it's a fast paced, practical playbook that you can read in one sitting and then apply immediately to help you execute better, raise your standards, break through to your next level. And if you know you're capable of more, or you feel like you've outgrown where you are, or if you're tired of knowing what to do but not executing consistently, this guide was created for you. You can download it for free right now by going to misfitentrepreneur.com/truths. That's misfitentrepreneur.com/truths. Grab the guide, read it in one sitting, and then come back and work through one misfit truth per day. All right, with that said, let's jump into today's episode. Hello, Misfit Entrepreneurs. Welcome to another episode of Lessons for Hannah. Many years ago, I introduced a new format alongside my regular episodes that are called Lessons for Hannah. Hannah's my daughter and one of the main inspirations for the Misfit Entrepreneur. And I wanted to have a place where she could go and learn from her dad and his Misfit friends throughout her life, even after I'm gone. If you haven't listened to the first episode of Lessons for Hannah, I urge you to do so, as it gives some more background and tells the amazing story of how Hannah came to be in our lives. The Lessons for Hannah are very short, very useful, and sometimes comical lessons that I want to share with you and give to Hannah to help in your lives. And because I want Hannah to have these for her life, I am going to speak as though I am talking directly to her. These episodes are a lot of fun, and if you think there is a lesson that we should include in future episodes, please don't hesitate to send it over to us at support@misfitentrepreneur. We'd love to share it. As a reminder, if you're new to watching this on our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button below. Give this video a like and comment as well. We do our best to respond to all comments as timely as possible. All right, here goes. This week's lesson for Hannah. Hannah, today I want to talk to you about leadership. Not the kind that you see on social media, not the kind that chases titles or attention, but the kind that actually works when things are hard. This lesson comes from an unexpected place. George Washington, one of the founding fathers of our country. I've been reading the definitive work on George Washington's life called The Real George Washington, and it is definitive. It's like 600 pages. And he's truly an amazing person in history. And before he became the first president of the United States, Washington was a general facing insurmountable, incredibly impossible odds. He was leading an undertrained, undersupplied army across the most powerful military in the world. And at one point, a young officer asked him a simple question. What's the best advice you can give me as a new commanding officer? And Washington's response wasn't flashy, it wasn't emotional, but it was pretty brilliant. And more than 200 years later, it's still one of the best leadership playbooks ever written. So what I want to do is I want to break it down and, more importantly, talk about how this applies to your life, your future, and anyone who wants to lead well. So lesson number one is be strict about standards, but reasonable about expectations. Washington starts by saying, be strict in your discipline, that is, require nothing unreasonable of your officers and men, but see that whatever is required be punctually complied with. Here's what he's really saying. Don't ask for the impossible, but don't tolerate excuses either. Great leaders don't demand perfection, they demand commitment. If you set a standard, it must matter. If you say something is important, then it needs to be followed through every time. Otherwise, your words lose meaning. You think about school, sports, even friendships. If a coach says be on time but never enforces it, being on time stops mattering. If a teacher sets deadlines but never holds anyone accountable, effort fades. If a friend constantly breaks promises with no consequences, trust disappears. Leadership starts with clarity. Set fair expectations, make them known, and then honor them by enforcing them consistently. Lesson number two is reward and correct based on merit, not favoritism. Washington continues, reward and punish every man according to his merit without partiality or prejudice. This is a big one. Nothing destroys a team faster than favoritism. When people believe success depends on who you know instead of how you perform, your merit, effort dies. People stop trying. They check out mentally. Real leadership means you praise people who earn it, you correct people who need it, and you treat everyone by the same standard. That doesn't mean being harsh. It means being fair. In life, you'll see leaders who avoid hard conversations because they don't want to be uncomfortable. You'll also see leaders who play favorites because it's easier. Don't be one of these. Respect grows when people know the rules apply to everyone, including you. Lesson number 3 is listen to complaints, but don't encourage noise. Washington says, hear his complaints. If well-founded, redress them. If otherwise, discourage them in order to prevent frivolous ones. This is subtle, but it's incredibly wise. Good leaders listen. Weak leaders either ignore problems or let complaining run unchecked. If someone raises a real issue, take it seriously. Fix what's broken, and people need to know that their voice matters. And so fixing what's broken does that. But here's the other side. Not every complaint deserves oxygen. There's a difference between constructive feedback and constant whining, problem solving and problem amplifying, raising concerns and avoiding responsibility. Part of leadership is protecting the mission from distraction. If every minor frustration turns into a debate, progress slows to a crawl. Listen carefully, act wisely, and keep the team focused forward. Lesson number 4 is shape character and culture, not just results. Washington then says, discourage vice in every shape and impress upon the mind of every man the importance of the cause and what it is they are contending for. This is about culture. Results matter, but character matters more. Great teams don't just know what they're doing, they know why they're doing it. When people understand the mission, they push harder, they sacrifice more, and they hold themselves to a higher standard. In your life, this means choosing values before convenience, doing the right thing when no one is watching, surrounding yourself with people who raise your standards. Culture isn't built through speeches, it's built through daily behavior, habits, what you tolerate, what you reward, and what you walk past. Lesson number 5 is be approachable, but maintain respect. Washington closes with this. Be easy and condescending in your deportment to your officers, but not too familiar, lest you subject yourself to a want of that respect which is necessary to support a proper command. This is one of the most misunderstood leadership principles of today. You don't have to be cold to be respected, but you can't lead effectively if you're trying to be everybody's friend. It's a fine line. Great leaders are approachable, but not needy. They're kind, but they're not weak. They're respectful, but they're not overly familiar. Respect creates clarity. Clarity creates trust. And trust creates performance. Whether you're leading a team, a family, or yourself, this balance does matter. The final lesson is that leadership, Hannah, isn't about power. It's about responsibility. It's about setting clear standards, acting with fairness, listening with wisdom, building strong character, and leading with calm confidence. George Washington didn't win because he was the loudest or most aggressive. He won because he earned trust, he demanded accountability, and he led with principle. And those principles never go out of style. If you lead this way, and when you lead this way, no matter what path you choose in life, people will follow you. Thank you for listening. And Hannah, I hope you take this to heart. I love you, Dad.